everyone, welcome to Must Read Monday. My name is Dabney. I'm a young adult librarian with the Twin Lakes Libraries, and I use they, them pronouns. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about some books in the young adult collection by Asian American and Pacific Islander authors. So I wanted to specifically focus on some books that are newer to the collection that I may not have talked about. So first up, we have Kiss&Tell by Adidquarium, and I absolutely love this book. So I'm a huge fan of his books. Darius the Great is Not Okay, Darius the Great Deserves Better. So I knew this was going to be one I also loved. Sometimes I'll think to myself, I don't really like boy band books or books about musicians or celebrities, and then I start reading them and I immediately get hooked in to the drama, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm all about it. So I really loved this one. So it's about Hunter. He is a member of a boy band, they're all teenagers, and he is kind of well known for being I think the first openly gay member of a boy band. And even though kind of a lot of people have accepted this about him, when some texts that he had sent to his ex-boyfriend are exposed, it reveals more about him and his sex life, and that really turns a lot of people against him. And it's kind of looking at these kind of prejudices and stereotypes that people have about specifically gay men or queer people. So that was really interesting. But also on the other hand, he starts dating a member of another boy band who is they're Iranian American, and so that kind of brings up more issues just because he's kind of had the things he's always faced, and learning about all the stuff that his boyfriend has been facing because of his racial and ethnic identity. So there's a lot going on in this book. I really loved it though, and yeah, so much drama, so good. Even if you think you don't like boy bands, I would say check it out because it was amazing. This one I haven't read yet, 1,000 Steps into Night by Tracy Chee, but I am really excited to read it because I have read some of her other books and really enjoyed it. So this is a fantasy. In the realm of Awara, where gods, monsters, and humans exist side by side, Miko is an ordinary girl resigned to a safe, if uneventful, existence as an innkeeper's daughter. But when Miko is cursed and begins to transform into a demon with a deadly touch, she embarks on a quest to reverse the curse and return to her normal life. Aided by a thieving magpie spirit and continuously thwarted by a demon prince, Miko must outfox tricksters, escape demon hunters, and negotiate with feral gods if she wants to make it home again. But with her transformation comes power and freedom she never even dreamed of, and she'll have to decide if saving her soul is worth trying to cram herself back into an ordinary life that no longer fits her, and perhaps never did. I'm very excited to read this one. And then these were a couple that I had started the series a while ago and finally got around to finishing them. First is Inferno by Julie Kagawa. This is book 5 in the Talon series. So this series follows 4 different characters. So you've got Ember, who's a dragon, her brother, whose name I totally can't remember now, and then you've got Garrett. He's a former, he's a dragon hunter, and then Riley, he's another dragon, so he's a rogue dragon. So Ember and her brother were raised by this organization called Talon, which is a group of dragons who are kind of like a secret society, and they kind of have like a mission. Like Talon has this big mission and goal, and the rogues are kind of like outside of that, like they're outside of Talon control. And then you've got like St. George the Dragon Hunters, who are just kind of out for all dragons. Like they think that all dragons are the same, that they're all like working for Talon and all kind of out to take over humanity, which is not the case. So you've got these 4 different perspectives, and their journey together and like how their stories overlap, and it's really, really good. It's like really epic. Lots of action, lots of like conspiracy, and there's also some romance as well. And I just really love, like, honestly, how all of the characters are developed, how their relationships develop, and I just think the whole concept of like the dragon society kind of like existing in our world without people being aware of it was really cool and really well done. And then this one, Wildcard by Marie Lu. This is a duology, the Warcross duology. So this is book 2. And I had read the first book, Warcross, like a long time ago, and finally wanted to get back into it. So this is one where there's kind of like this online gaming, like almost virtual reality that like everyone has tapped into. Like everyone uses it and uses, like there's these glasses people wear to kind of like overlay like a bunch of other information with like what you're seeing. And so people use that, like use the glasses for everything. So there's like this massive program, massive game that people all over the world play. And the main character in this is Amika, and she starts out as a bounty hunter and also playing Warcross kind of under like an alias. So she ends up like hacking into like this major Warcross game and ends up being exposed to like everyone in the midst of her hack. And she kind of thinks like this is the end for her. But then she gets recruited by the game's creator to work for him and try to uncover, there's somebody who's been like hacking into the games, and he wants her to figure out who it is. So it kind of like starts, you think like you know everything, but as you go on, you're like, oh my gosh, like I know nothing. And I thought like the characters were really cool. I love kind of just like the futuristic gaming aspects of it. So if you've seen things like, I think the closest like movie parallel I've seen to like the kind of way that like a game and like a virtual reality is so entwined with like everyday life is the animated movie Summer Wars. So I recommend watching that if you haven't. And then I have a couple more books, and these are not by like Asian American authors. These authors I believe live in Canada, but I love the books, and I was like, you know what, Canada, why not? Why don't we talk about it? So this is one, it's like got the most gorgeous cover in my opinion. A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Lin. In this one, this is like another fantasy, and this is kind of like combining tea and like tea ceremonies with magic. So like certain people are like trained in the art of brewing different teas to have like magical effects, and this can be like healing magic or illusions, truth, like there's teas that can like let you know if somebody's telling you the truth or if they're lying. Loads of applications with these teas and magic, and that was really cool because I personally love tea a lot, and I love reading about magic, so it was like a win-win for me. But the main character, her mother is poison, like she drinks poison tea, and so does her sister. So her mom ends up dying and does some magic to keep her sister from dying. So she's kind of on the clock to find an antidote and save her sister, and also kind of uncover who is distributing this poison, because it wasn't just like her family, it was other people who were affected. So she's trying to like solve that mystery, and to do so she goes to the capital to compete in this tournament to select the next person who will be, I think it's the Chee, master of the ancient magical art of tea making. So for the emperor, the next person to serve in that role. So she's in the competition for that, but she's never like been officially trained. She more just like kind of shadowed what her mom did and observed, and so she's kind of going there under like false pretenses. So she's having to like stay under the radar, compete, try to solve this mystery, and even more drama ensues when she becomes involved with a mysterious young man, of course. And yes, so I really loved it, and this is the first book in a duology, and the second book comes out, I think, in August, so you don't have to wait too long for it. And then this is another one I listened to, Jade Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan, and this one was a lot. I will admit sometimes I kind of had a hard time following the plot, and I think that was just on me, and I was trying to listen to it while probably trying to do too much other stuff, and so I'm kind of like, I should go back and like read the book, because I did enjoy it. It just kind of like, at the time, I wasn't really absorbing it as much as I should. So I'll just read you what the summary is. An is no one. Found as a child, she has no memory of her past, only a dark secret, magical powers that would mean her imprisonment if they were discovered. When An's secret is accidentally exposed, she's sent to the imperial palace to await her fate. Altan's real name was once known throughout the Chee Empire. When his family was murdered and his birthright hijacked, he lost everything. Now, with a new name and vengeance on his mind, he intends to gain it all back, even if it means entangling his very soul with dark and dangerous magic, from which he might never escape. When Altan encounters An and her mysterious abilities, he sees in her a path to reclaiming the throne. Their tenuous alliance is on the verge of becoming something more, when the depth of An's dark powers are awakened, and the two realize restoring the empire might come at a far deadlier price than they could have ever imagined. So, very epic. So if you want to dig into this, I highly recommend. And it's like a standalone too, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, those are my book selections for this week, and I'll put in the video notes if these books are available on Hoopla or Libby. They're all in our young adult collection, and I'll also have a link to our Goodreads list, so you can look at all of our books by Asian American Pacific Islander authors. And what else? We also have these lists in the young adult room. There's like a binder on the table, so you can flip through, find the book list that's got all the authors listed, and you can look at it that way. And the last two things, this is our last week of after-school programming at the Hancock branch until we'll take a couple weeks off and then come back for summer reading club. And the sign up for that is going to be May 22nd, so you can sign up on Beanstack, and I'll have more info about this in a later video. But yeah, I hope you check out some of these books or check out some of the authors from the list, and I will see you all next time. Bye!